Alternative text or alt text is a description of a figure or image that's read out by a screen reader for users of our digital content who have visual impairments. Alt text is embedded in the digital package of the publication and is not visible within the body of the text or in the printed version of your work. As the author, because you have chosen or created the image and know what information you are trying to convey through the image, you are often best placed to provide alt text descriptions of any images in the context of your work. But why is alt text so important? Alt text is crucial for ensuring our content is accessible and inclusive so people with visual impairments are able to experience your work alongside their fully sighted colleagues. We have been committed to including alt text in all of our digital content since January 2022 in compliance with the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1, and it will also be a legal requirement to include alt text in any ebooks and online journals to be sold in the European Union member states from June 2025 as per the European Accessibility Act. But what requires alt text? Alt text is required for any figures, photos, or other images to be included in your content. However, it is not required for tables, equations, or cover images, or when an image is purely decorative. The exception to this rule is nested tables like this, as these are classed as complex and require an alt text summary. To avoid needing alt text for tables, try and simplify any nested tables, though it is of course understandable that some tables cannot be simplified without losing their meaning. If your Bristol University Press or Policy Press title includes nested tables, please discuss any requirements with your supporting editor. But how long should the alt text be? Most images require either a short sentence or phrase or a concise description in fewer than 100 words. More complicated graphs and charts, such as flowcharts, may require a longer description. But how do you ensure the alt text is as good as it can be? Before you start writing your alt text, it's important to consider what information the user needs. Rather than describing everything in the image, ask yourself what the purpose of the image is and how it fits with the context of the main text. Because of this, alt text can differ depending on the type of content. For instance, an image of a school included in an education book or article may have different alt text to the same image included in a social care book or article. But when it comes to writing the alt text itself, please keep the following in mind. As the description is heard rather than seen, it may be helpful to imagine describing the image to someone in a voice call. Use clear, concise language that doesn't confuse the user. Spell out contractions, numbers, and non-Latin letters. Keep to the same tone of voice as the main body text. If there is a figure caption, the alt text should complement rather than repeat it. Alt text should also support but not replicate the main text. If the text already explains the information shown in the image, the alt text doesn't need to repeat it. Hearing lots of image descriptions can be draining, so keep your alt text as short as possible, ideally between 10 and 100 words. Make sure the alt text doesn't contain any information that a sighted person would miss. Alt text tells the user what the image is and its relevance, but is not a critique or analysis of the image. This would appear in the body text. Further tips and recommendations include ensuring all spelling is accurate, as screen readers will simply read any typos out, only using grouped capital letters for acronyms, as that is how they will be read, ensuring there is a full stop at the end of the alt text so the screen reader pauses before moving back to the main text, only using characters and symbols that can be read by screen readers. These symbols are consistently read out correctly. These symbols are fine to use but create a pause effect that may not be distinguishable for the listener. Avoid these symbols if you can, as their interpretation can vary depending on the screen reader used and may either be read aloud or simply create a pause. These symbols cannot be read by screen readers. But how do all these pieces of advice come together? We'll take this graph as our first example, and the alt text reads, "The total fertility for New Zealand was highest in 1962 at just under 4.5 and declined steeply from that high point until 1980. From 1980 to 2014, the rate was comparatively stable at around 2, and from 2014 to 2020, there was another steep decline from approximately 2 to closer to 1.5. The reason this alt text works is that it complements the caption rather than repeating it, and it succinctly describes the pattern or trend shown by the line graph." The alt text for our second example reads, "Figure 3 compares the feelings towards pregnancy between those who did and did not want children at age 15. Categories were whether the pregnancy was planned, ambivalent, unplanned, no data, or no pregnancy or biological child. The y-axis shows cumulative percentages, so the percentage of people in each category can be compared across groups. Compared to those who at age 15 expressed desire to have children, those who did not want to have children had fewer planned pregnancies and were more likely to not have a biological child. Rates of unplanned pregnancies among the two groups were similar." The reason this alt text is effective is that it describes a complex graph in less than 100 words, including the meaning of the data shown. Our final example's alt text says, An audience of patients, practitioners, and researchers watch actors perform the play Altered States with scene-relevant research evidence displayed on a screen behind. And the reason this works is because the image is described in the context of the main text, including who the people depicted are, as well as their activity. We hope this has helped clarify the use and importance of alt text, as well as offering guidance for how to ensure your alt text is the best it can be. We look forward to receiving your alt text along with your work in the near future.